Good morning, Craig here. Craig Howard here. Having a bad hair day, looks like. I'm here to just share a couple thoughts with you this morning. I'm down in the park in Petersburg, and they just built these new little pavilions, single picnic pavilions that are really nice. There you can see one sort of up on the hill, but it's just a great place to kind of sit, get your hair under control, maybe have a cup of coffee. Um, so this morning I'm here, and I was reading something this morning about the number of cars that are in floods that actually end up they're in floods, but they actually end up getting restored and taken to another part of the country and resold as sometimes totally restored clean titles. Sometimes they're sold with a bill of sale. Sometimes they're sold with some other type of title. But these are cars that have been through major floodwaters. And while you say, well, it's been restored, the thing is, what happens is over time, corrosion begins to set in, especially with the electronics. Electronics, once they've been water damaged, while you may be able to get them dried out, a lot of times once they've been wet, corrosion begins to set in. And you start having all these gremlins that appear later on down the road because this car has been in a flood. It's very seldom that they go to the trouble and expense to completely restore something that has been flood damaged to the level that it's never going to create problems again. And hundreds of thousands of these cars every year are in floods, and many of them are restored and sent to some other part of the country where the flood wasn't, and sold as regular cars. So the buyer has to beware. You have to be careful, especially don't buy a car that they're offering you a bill of sale, or they don't have the title, or it's I forget what it's called. There's a special kind of title where it's been in an accident and redone. So you have to be careful of those things. But it made me think about how people, a lot of times a car that's been in a flood, no matter what they do to it, it's never going to be restored back to the level it was before the flood. Can't happen. But what about people that are damaged? What about people whose lives have been damaged by sin? Well, the Bible says in the book of First Peter that God will restore us through His grace, through God's grace. God will restore us, make us whole and clean and new again. It's in First Peter chapter 5. And, I thought about that, and I thought, it's amazing how God's grace can make us like new. The Bible says, though my sins were as scarlet, you've washed me white as snow. God's grace can take you from that place where sin damaged you. And no matter what you've done in your life, no matter what's happened in your life, no matter what you've been through, God's grace can restore you to that position of wholeness and cleanness and newness again. Well, I want you to think about that today. If you've been through kind of a rough time, or if your life's been through some hard times, I want you to understand that you are restorable, that you don't have to have a damaged title, that God doesn't look at you and say, well, that one's been through a problem, that one's been damaged and is never going to be whole again. No, that's not the way God works. When God restores something, He does it all the way. I want you to think about that today. Hope you have a great day today. I am leaving tomorrow night. I'll probably have devotions tomorrow, but then I'm leaving tomorrow night for Guatemala, and don't know if I'll have the opportunity to put any devotions up on Wednesday. We'll see. You take care. God bless you in all that you do. Bye now.